Hello guys, welcome back to another chapter. I'm still recovering from last chapter, so anyways, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Hey, you guys don't have to suffer through a whole 2 minute long intro. So let's just get right into it today. Um, yeah, Mastermind Rise of Anarchy, written by Clouds. My head in the clouds, not coming down. Read by Reen MHA. Chapter 26. Family. Summary: the aftermath of Bakugo's arrest. Shota woke up to Eri poking him in the face. She was so cute that he couldn't even be mad, but he still groaned and barely opened one eye until he saw the worried expression on her face. Eri, sweetie, what is it? Is something wrong? Someone's at the door, Eri whispered. They've been knocking for a really, really long time. I tried hiding, but they won't go away. Shota tensed. Okay, you stay here. I'll go check it out, okay? If you'd like to get under the bed, would that help you feel safe? Eri hesitated for a moment and shook her head. I'll come protect you, Papa. Shota frowned. It probably wasn't anyone too dangerous, since they were on UA grounds. But if it was the League, or something similar, how about you hide under the couch, okay? That way I know you're safe, but you can come save me if I need it. Eri nodded, staring up at him with brave eyes that made his heart burst with pride. Alright, just let me grab my capture weapon. She held it out for him. His senses wasn't even finished, and he smiled as he took it. Good work, sweetie. Come on, now let's go see who it is. He gripped the scarf and silently made his way to the front door as the intruder knocked again. Shota nodded to Eri to make sure she was completely hidden before unlocking the door and flinging it open. The only reason he didn't immediately attack was because it was Shinso on the other side. Aizawa, thank goodness. Shinso looked worried. Have you seen the news yet? Shota groaned and rubbed his eyes. Kid, it's literally... He looked at the clock. Almost 3 in the morning. Why would I be watching the move? Eri, it's Shinso, you can come out now. Eri slowly came out from behind the couch, clinging on to those loose fabric pajama pants as she practically hid behind him. Shota turned back to Shinso, who looked like he had something he wanted to say but wasn't sure how to say it. Well, what's so important that you come barging into my apartment in the middle of the night? Shinso glanced between Aizawa and Eri. Bakugo's has been arrested by Uraraka. Shota went cold. What? Eri had grabbed the remote and turned on the 24/7 news channel. The reporter was standing in front of an All Might museum, which was exactly where Uraraka and Azui had been planning to patrol earlier. Fuck. Details are still coming out about tonight's alteration, but it appears that the violent vigilante commonly known as King was apprehended by a UA student who goes by the code name of Uravati. The biggest shock, however, is not that a student was able to take down such a destructive force, but that King himself was also a UA student. The two appeared to have been chasing the same criminals when they crossed paths. While not making much known for the fight itself, eyewitness reports that there was at least one casualty. A casualty? Shota turned to Shinso. Who died or who killed them? Shinso asked. I'm pretty sure that's what everyone is asking. My money is on Bakugo as the killer. I mean, Uraraka has been through her own issues, but Bakugo is naturally more violent. Shota collapsed onto the couch next to Eri, who was still staring wide-eyed at the screen. Who else knows? Whoever's been watching the news, Shota shrugged helplessly. I was up with insomnia, which is how I saw it, but I know Kaminali usually wakes up to the notifications on his phone, so he'll probably know by now, and there's a good chance Jiro overheard it while I was watching. Okay, I'll call Nit. Shota stopped. I'll call Sukachi. Can you watch Eri for a bit while I handle this? Shinzo nodded. Do you think Bakugo really? Hopefully it's just the news sensitizing things, Shota said quickly, pulling out his phone. For the love of God, I hope. Mitsuki wrung her hands as she made her way to the police station. Masaru had gotten a call about Katsuki, and the two of them had been about to leave when they'd made the mistake of checking the news, which is why Mitsuki was here, alone, about to meet her son, who had just. She took a deep breath, forced back tears. At this rate, she was going to get wrinkles. Her, the woman who made her, whose quirk made her skin naturally flawless. Maybe the news was lying, but she had a sinking feeling in her gut not to get her hopes up. Her son had been arrested. Just how badly had they messed up raising him if he'd... Miss Bakugo? A man greeted her when she walked in. I'm Detective Tsukashi. I work closely with UA High, so I will be consoling on your son's case. Mitsuki nodded shakily. Can I see him? Tsukashi nodded compassionately. Of course. It'll be just a few more minutes. The other detectives are finishing up his statement. Here, I'll lead you to the observation room. That way you can go straight in when they finish up. Mitsuki nodded silently as the detective led her through the maze of hallways until they reached a door marked Interrogation Room 3. He opened it and she walked in a dark room way with mirrors. Her son was sitting on the other side, handcuffed to the table, looking less like the boy she had thought she raised and more like a villain about to leap across the table and tear both detectives' throats out at the slightest provocation. He was wearing a plain black hoodie, his face and hands covered in soot. What had become of her little boy? I told you for the last time, and it means to kill the guy, Katsuki growled. And why are you only talking to me? Roundface is the one who decided to shoot first and ask questions later. I believe that this statement applies to you as well, one of the men said tiredly. He stood and opened the door of the observation room, rubbing his temples in frustration as he stepped inside. We've been talking in circles for the past 10 minutes, and I don't think there's anything else we can get. Where's the dad? Mitsuki swallowed, her mouth dry. He was busy, just me today. The other detective looked at her in understanding. I'm sorry. Mitsuki didn't think she could say anything else, so she just nodded, and the detective jerked his head for her to follow as he went back into the interrogation room. Alright, Bakugo, you still have a hot minute until the judge decides on your bail. But in the meantime, your mom's. Katsuki took one look at her, and his face hardened. Get out. What? Mitsuki blinked in surprise. Katsuki, I get that this is a pretty shitty situation, but I said get out. Katsuki lunged forward, making the handcuffs rattle as he snarled at her. I know you hate the sight of me. Don't try to pretend. You're only here because either the old man had to show up or you had to show up, and God knows where he is. He wants nothing to do with me, and I don't want to see you, so get the hell out. Tsukashi placed a hand on her elbow. Perhaps it'll be best for you to come back another time. You can stay if you'd like, but, well, we'll keep you updated and contact you once he calms down a bit. Maybe Mitsuki should have fought to stay, but she was so shocked by everything that it didn't even occur to her to push against the hands that were gently guiding her from the room. She wasn't even really aware of everything moving both too fast and slow at the same time around her. until she was standing at a train station completely alone again. What was she supposed to do now? It was late by the time Fumikage got back from the dorms. His after accusation of Hawks, both he and Dark Shadow had been trying to keyed up to go straight back to the dorms. Sure, it was late enough that he probably wouldn't have to deal with many of the classmates, but still, after everything Hawks had said and offered, he just hadn't been in a mood to just walk by as they stared at him and whispered behind his back, so he had it. He'd wander around for a while, visiting an old beach that someone had cleaned up last year and getting food from a seedy dinner that was open until 2. Walking in darkness was comfortable in a way he hadn't really expected. He'd been taught his entire life to fear the darkness because it was what made Dark Shadow more uncontrollable, but it just made them more powerful as well. Instead of being threatening, it was as if the darkness was a blanket wrapped around him, comforting them both. Once he calmed down enough, he walked back to UA. It was the middle of the night, so no one should be awake, except maybe Shinso. But he was fairly good about not looking at Tokoyami like a threat due to him having a villain's quirk. It should have been easy to simply walk up to his room and fall asleep without ever turning on a single light. But when he pushed the doors to the dorms, the room was bright and every single remaining member of his classmate was awake, staring at him. "Hello," Fumikage said casually. "What in the mad banquet of darkness is occurring?" "Seriously, dude?" Kirishima looked at him with betrayal. "You too?" "We thought you were better than this," Jiro spat. "But no, you just had to turn traitor, too, and then show up here with the audacity to lie about it." "What?" Fumikage took a step back. He was tired, confused, and scared. Why were the lights so bright? "I'm not a traitor. I have no idea what you're talking about. I will never join them villains." "Really?" Zero rolled his eyes and showed him a picture on his phone. "Then would you maybe care to explain why there's a picture of you and Hawks chatting like old friends that's going viral right now?" Fumikage was starting to hyperventilate, and he had to fight Dark Shadow down as he screamed, "Fight, kill, protect." "He was trying to recruit me, but I didn't. I wouldn't." "Yeah, right." Mina glared at him, acid already coating her hands, and Fumikage stared, realizing his classmates were prepared for a fight. "You have meetings with villains on the same night that Bakugo gets arrested for murder, and you really expect us to believe that it's a coincidence? We're not stupid, you dumb bird." "Bakugo killed." Fumikage felt more bird-like than he ever had in his life. But perhaps that was because he felt like a piece of prey, his head jerking to try to keep all of his classmates in line of sight at all times. Ants, more and more of them activated their quirks. "I swear, I didn't know." His stomach sank as he realized that nothing he said would work to ever convince them. They were always going to see him as a villain because of his quirk, his connections, and the chaotic coincidences that he couldn't control. They were about to fight him, arrest him, and the worst part is he didn't know how far they'd be willing to go. But he had a sinking feeling that Bakugo had just been the answer. Dark Shadow lashed out as soon as they got to the doorway. Tokoyami was able to guide the attack towards Kirishima so that as quirks claws against the rock instead of flesh. But he wasn't going to be able to hold Dark Shadow back for long. At this point, it wasn't certain that he wanted to. Who was he to fight against what fate had apparently decided? He saw Yairotsu making an object from her stomach, and he knew he had to leave before whatever floodlight she was going to create was finished. A dark shadow wrapped around him, almost completely shielding him from his classmates' attack, helping him blend into the shadows as he darted to the courtyard and towards the gates. Gio's earphone jack dug into his ankle, shaking him to the bone with her heartbeat, and he cried out, but forced himself to limp the rest away, out of the gate and duck to the nearest, darkest alleyway he could find, letting Dark Shadow become fertile wall of darkness to hide behind them from a view, as he shakily took out his phone. He should have deleted this number months ago. He wanted to. He could have any time, but for some reason he hadn't. He could only thank whatever pearl of inner darkness possessed him to keep one last connection to his old mentor. The phone rang for what seemed like forever, and tears were streaming down his face, catching in his feathers by the time someone finally picked up. Ox, I've been pushed from the nest. Please save me. That is the end of the chapter. Right as we got to check around this movie, there was probably a scene change because the first part was recorded at like 7 p.m. and this part is recorded at 2 a.m. So yeah, I woke up at 12 and I couldn't go back to sleep and I had nothing better to do. But yeah, that was a chapter. Uncle Yummy, that's so sad. Anyways, sorry, I'm like really tired. My mind is going blank. It's my face. It's like dark in my room. My computer is the only light source. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next chapter.